This is December, whatever it is, 29th, 2024, and we are doing a video interview starring Quinn Mullally, Keira Mullally, and Rosie Manning. So we're going to start with you, Quinn. Please ask your first question of Grandma.
What was it like to go to school?
Back in the 30s, you mean? Way back then? It was nice. We never went home for lunch. They had like a little kitchen where everybody got lunch at the same time, but just soup and peanut butter. But nobody went home then. It was good.
What was it like being a nurse and in the war? What was it like?
It was tough, and I was a cadet nurse. The government issued a new U.S. Cadet Nurse Corps, which I joined, but I got 3 years of training for nothing. But if the war was still on, I had to go to the war. But the World War II was over in 1945, and I graduated in 1947, so I didn't have to go. But since I didn't have to go there, I joined the American Red Cross. And we were sent to Kentucky, North Carolina, to work on polio patients in our lungs. And when everything got under the pandemic pretty soon with cleaning up, they sent us to California, at Los Angeles, and they really had a bad season at Jared. It was young kids and older, not older, I mean 20s and the 30s, something like that. So when I came home, I applied for the Walter Reed Hospital in Washington to go down there and work. But they said they were taking all the nurses that were in the service first. So I said, well, that goes out. So I applied at a veterans hospital. And I got, taken right away. But meantime, while I'm at the Veterans Hospital, I get a letter from Walter Reed Hospital in Washington saying for me to go down to get interviewed. But it was too late. I was already working, and I took care of a lot of the patients were from the war, either having one problem or another. But it was great. It was good.
Did you have any friends, and what were your friends like?
Oh, I did have lots of friends. You mean like in the high school days or the grade school days?
Just anything.
Okay. In the grade school days, that's where you met your friends, and then you went to junior high school with them, and then you went to senior high school with them. So they were friends forever, And we had fun. It was good. Did a lot. Nobody had cars back then, young ones like that. So we had fun. It was fun. Thank you.
What was food like?
Well, we didn't have any drive-ins back then. Like McDonald's and Wendy's, we had none of that. And I can't even remember eating pizza back then. Of course, my mom and dad said we ate good Ukrainian food. Pierogi, halupchi, stuff like that. We took our lunches to school sometimes, and we ate there sometimes, but nothing, no McDonald's, no drive-ins, nothing. In fact, we really couldn't afford to go to a restaurant and eat. We just stayed home and had some good meals.
Did you have neighborhood friends?
I was the youngest kid in the neighborhood, and where I lived, there was like a circle in front of our house, right in it's called the Boulevard. And we used to play dodgeball, baseball, and what else? Hopscotch. Did you ever play hopscotch?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what else am I thinking of? That's about it. Oh, and I had, they're called paper dolls. They put them in Sunday papers. It's like Tilly the Toiler, and every Sunday they would put a different outfit in for her. And I had like a book, it was like this, and I would put the clothes in each newspaper, so I could, rather in the magazine pages. And we would play house with 2 or 3 other friends. We moved to Farrell from Arnold, Pennsylvania, when my dad got transferred. And we played school a lot. We played school a lot. We did that on the porches, you know. It was fun.
What were your favorite clothes growing up?
Well, we didn't have jeans. No jeans. And we had much of my shorts and stuff was made by my mother with a sewing machine. And, you know, we had little pinafore outfits. They were kind of famous back then. But that's about it. We didn't have tennis shoes like this either. It was fun.
What was living in the time of the war like?
Well, I was in, I don't know what grade I was in. Probably. What year was it? 1940 something.
Yeah.
And I belonged to a church. And we were there for practice for our Christmas recital. And when we came out, somebody was blowing horns, and that meant they were starting the war on December 7th, 1941.
Was that like scary for you?
Well, I was still young. It didn't mean too much, but the Second World War, I was really into that because I was in high school then, and when it was declared, almost every boy in our senior class volunteered and left. A couple of the teachers volunteered and left too. It was sad. It was sad because, well, the best thing they got back then, when you went into the service, you got your college education for nothing. How about that? They paid for everything, so there was a lot of people that joined the service. I didn't have anybody that got wounded or died in my room, in my class. That's about it. They had a lot came back and went right to college. We didn't have our prom. We had very little commencement service because there was just girls, and you know, most of the boys were gone then. Back then we used to have field day, where whoever had the cars would all pile in the car, and they would go to other high schools and honk the horn. And they knew that we were coming. The police knew, or they would have stopped us. We would go around the high school, not ours, you know, like Sharon, and we'd honk the horn. They would do the same thing to our school too. That's about it. And then I went right into training. I graduated from high school in 1944, and 2 weeks later, I was in training. You want me to tell you about training?
Go for it.
Okay. I never lived at home after that because I stayed in their dormitory all the time. We had to be in our rooms at 8 o'clock at night. Lights out at 10. How about that? So from 8 to 10 we studied. Thank goodness they made us do it because it was hard studying. And then, that's about it. I had 3 years of training, and we had we had the practical part of training given at the hospital, but we had a lot of professors from like Grove City or Jewel College or Westminster that would come to us in our classroom to teach us. So it was kind of fun.
What were your brother and sisters like?
Okay, we only had one brother, but I had 2 sisters. And we were fairly close, maybe a couple of years or 3 years apart. So it was fun. They were fun. But my brother went to the war during the Second World War, let me put out. And he went to Europe. And you know what his job was over there? He was a driver for General Eisenhower. And he knew a lot about Ukrainian. That's my heritage of being Ukrainian. And my 2 sisters and my brother knew a lot of Ukrainian, but we moved to Farrell where they didn't have a Ukrainian school or anything, so I missed out on that. But he was in there for a while. My sister was in Cleveland. She married somebody from Cleveland and had 2 children. The son graduated from Ohio State. And he was on the Ohio State baseball team that won the World Series. And then he got a job. Then after he graduated, he was a school teacher in Parma. My sister, next to me, graduated, and she went to a business school in Sharon. And then she decided to go to Washington, D.C. and work for the Navy. And when she applied, two Navy guys went next door to my mother's house to ask about Florence, whether she was good and all that sort of stuff. So she went down to Washington and worked for the Navy. And that's where she met her husband. And that's where she had 3 boys. And the boys did real well with their life too. And then my other sister got married when I was in 7th grade. I don't know too much about the wedding, but she had, the boy and girl. But she lived in Cleveland, so it was fun.
How, when, and where did you meet your husband?
Okay. I worked at Cryle, and each ward had 2 doctors. And one doctor had a friend who was Jack McMahon. And he introduced me to him, and then through Jack McMahon, I met his buddy, which was Bob. And we dated for a year and some before we got married. So it was nice. He was from Cleveland. He was a graduate of Ohio State, and he worked for the 3M company, makers of Scotch Brand cellophane tape.
Do you remember, how old you were? Were you young, or were you, a little bit older?
I must have been, in my 20s, my early 20s. And I worked there for 5 years at a veterans hospital. We had a lot of fun, too, with working, because all the soldiers that were hurt came to our place. It was a veterans hospital, and they would play pranks on each other. It was fun. Once we had lemon pie, and the meringue on top. Well, one of the patients went to the bathroom, and while she was in the bathroom, one of the guys took the foam. What was it?
Whipped cream. Whipped cream?
And they looked like whipped cream. And took the whipped cream off and put this foam on top. It really looked like it was. That was fun. That was good. And then we got married in August, August 2nd. And had 3 beautiful children. First one, Jim was 2nd, and Joyce was 3rd. My little girl, after having 2 boys, we were kind of lucky.
Well, kind of like you.
Yeah, we were lucky.
Ask her who her favorite kid is.
Who's your favorite child?
No, you don't have to answer that.
Well, I was thrilled when you were born because I had all those nephews.
See, there you go.
So I think
Yeah, you. Well,
I didn't know the
Yeah, I
other
know.
2 too well.
break your heart. Give her a look, Keira. All right.
No, I really did. I was thrilled when you were born. I went down there to hold you and everything when you were born. I thought, oh, how wonderful girl. And then she came along. So I had 2 beautiful more great-grandchildren.
Gaga, how did you start diamond art?
Well, I had a niece that she sent me over that picture. And I said, how did you do that? And she explained to me, and my kids bought some diamond art for me to do. And I think I've done about 7 of them already. And they're all big like this. One was little, I can't remember what the
One's in my house.
Okay, that's right, yeah. So, but it was fun to get. Do you both do it? Do you know how to do it? I'm going to have to send you one too because I was going to do it.
I made you one over there, but I don't think you really.
They don't call that diamond art though, do they?
Technically it is, but it's for the window.
Yeah.
I don't really know.
Oh, you made me a lot of things. You made me that white one down there.
Yeah.
Piece there. And what else did you make me?
I made you cards and stuff, but
Oh, yeah. Everything was cute.
Julia Mullally.
Hey so much for giving me this honor of being inducted into the Alumni Hall of Fame. It was a wonderful surprise. I am here because of my work with the polio epidemic in South Carolina and California. What started out as an adventure after 3 years of nurses training turned into a humanitarian effort. We had so many iron lung patients, children, teens, adults, and we were very dedicated to helping all of them survive. Our main goal was to wean them from the iron lung so they could breathe on their own. We would try 15-second sessions to start. We would pull them out on their gurney out of the tube for 15 seconds. When we see the panic on their faces, only a few seconds, and then slide them right back in. Of course, we praised them and gave them encouragement for the next time. We'd keep trying until eventually they could breathe on their own. When the polio epidemic finally subsided, we were sent home. The friends we made at Farrell High School were lifelong friends, from elementary to junior high school to senior high school. Of course, senior high was tough with the World War II. A lot of eligible boys joined up to serve, missing the prom and the commencement. But our class motto was go forth to serve, and we did. We had a great group of friends, about 12 of us, who were always together at all the games and functions. After the football games, we would walk to the Villanova for a sandwich and just have fun together. Is the Villanova still there? No more? Our friendship had lasted over 70 years. We stayed together throughout those years with a tremendous bond that was born at Farrell High School. We took care of each other and supported each other over those many years. There are 3 of us left, 2 other ladies and myself. As for me, I've been a widow since 2000. I have a great family, 2 sons and 1 daughter. I have 6 grandchildren, 7 great-grandchildren. My family has come here tonight from Ohio, Indiana, and Florida to help me celebrate. They take care of this old lady. I also belong to a book club with some older ladies. I would have invited them tonight, but half can't see, half can't hear, and they all have to be home by dark. But I'll have them over coffee, show them the pictures, and tell them what a great time we had tonight.